So let's get started then. Let's jump into the Excel files and let me show you what it looks like and how to navigate the user interface. Let's start. You can launch the Excel if you have a shortcut icon on your desktop or on the taskbar over here. Otherwise, you can click on the Windows button, and in the menu you will find Excel, which will be with this icon. You just click on that, and at the first instance when you open Excel, it will show you a list of recently opened files if you want to reopen that, or you want to open a blank new file, which is this option, blank workbook. Excel also has several templates and tutorials which you may open, and they are listed over here. But we want to open a blank workbook for now, so I'm going to click here. As soon as it opens up, you will see by default it is called Book 1-Excel. The name is displayed over here. There are some buttons over here that we'll discuss. These are the tools that we use, and most of the screen area is this white sheet with a grid-like structure with boxes. So each box over here is called a cell. A cell is a fundamental unit of working in Excel. It's a fundamental unit which contains data in Excel. And when we collectively refer to all the cells in a vertical line, we call it a column. Each column has been named by a letter. So each of these is a separate column. And if I go to the right, if I go towards the end of the spreadsheet, we have so many columns here. Similarly, all the cells adjacent to each other in a straight line are collectively called as a row in Excel. This is a row, and each row has been numbered using a number 1, 2, 3, 4. If we go to the end of the spreadsheet, we can see that there are more than 10 lakh rows in this spreadsheet. A collection of rows and columns, this entire sheet is referred to as worksheet, and it can be named. So this worksheet is called sheet 1. The way the Excel file is structured, we can add more worksheets or delete more worksheets. All this will be covered later in detail, but let me just show you. So if I add another worksheet by clicking here, now I have 2 sheets and I can navigate between them. Together, a collection of sheets, the entire file is called as a workbook or an Excel workbook. Now let's look at the user interface, how you can interact with the program and do what you want to do. You have several tools, several features, and they are put into different tabs according to their relevance or utility. So right now we are on the Home tab. You see the Home is underlined, it is highlighted. I can select any of these groups. For example, I can go to Insert. I just click here and now Insert is highlighted, and you see the buttons over here have changed. Okay. So on the Home tab, you have some basic formatting features and some basic functions and tools. On the Insert tab, you have things you can insert. For example, you can insert a pivot table, you can insert pictures, you can insert a table, you can insert shapes, and also notice that these buttons are clustered into groups. So for example, all the kinds of tables are put together under the heading tables, and all the pictures and illustrations are included here under illustrations, and so on. You can include charts in a file, and all the buttons related to charts are included here. This section is called a ribbon, and all the buttons are grouped on a ribbon. If there are more buttons available, you will see a small downward pointing arrow over here. If you click on that, you can see more options. It's not applicable in this case, but let's go to the Home tab, and for example, the formatting options. If you click here, you can see more options. Similarly, we have the Page Layout tab. On this, you can apply different kinds of margins, orientations, or set up your print areas, include backgrounds, etc. We have the formulas tab where you have all the formulas categorized into different buckets. For example, the financial formulas, the logical formulas, etc. Then you have data tab. You have a lot of tools here which we can use to handle data, manipulate data, do things with data. You have the review tab. Again, here you have a lot of options. Then the next one is the view tab. You have the options of viewing data, viewing your Excel file in different ways, and so on. We will cover each of this in a separate chapter later on in much detail, but right now let me show you the file tab. This is slightly different. If you click here, it doesn't show in a ribbon, but it looks like this. Once you are here, you can either save your work. Let me go back. By clicking here, I'm going back to the Excel spreadsheet. Let me write something here. Let's learn Excel. And now if I want to save the file, let me zoom this for you a little. Now if I want to save this file, I can click here, file, and I have all the save options here. So I click on save. It will ask me for a location. I will choose desktop. It will ask me for a name. I'll let it remain book 1 and click on save. Now every time I make any changes, for example, I write here Excel is fun, and again I can go back to the file and click on save. That will update the workbook. This will be saved. If I close it now, next time when I open it, I will see it like this. There is also a keyboard shortcut for saving your workbook, that is Control S, or you can do it with the mouse by clicking this icon over here, the floppy disk icon. It says save or Control S. If you do that, it will perform the same function. This area is called the quick access toolbar. Some very useful features or tools that you can access very quickly from here. You can obviously customize this by adding or removing items from here. Let me show you what more is there on the file tab. So other than save, you can print whichever file is open. You can select a printer, decide your settings, and then go ahead with printing the report. This again is covered in much detail in a later chapter. You can share your file on a drive or through other means like email. Let's go back. You can export your file as a PDF, and depending upon your settings, sometimes there are other options also. You can publish your work. You can export it to another application, for example, Power BI. And let me show you one more very cool thing that you can do. Suppose there are few features on the home tab that you use very frequently, let's say Format Painter, and then again some on the Insert tab that you use very frequently, maybe something on the Data tab that you use very frequently. Excel gives you the chance or the opportunity or the feature to create your own tab also. For that, down below you see we have options. Click on the options, and within options you go to customize ribbon, okay, and here you can add a new tab by clicking on this. Once you have created a new tab, you can maybe rename it. So I will rename it as my favorites, okay, and then you can add buttons that you want, and they can be on different tabs currently. So for example, let me add copy, and that is on the home tab. Then let me add freeze panes, that is on the view tab. Don't worry about these commands and these buttons. We will cover all of them in detail. Right now I'm just showing you the interface. And maybe then let me add insert table and maybe sum, just as an example, just random examples. And when I click on OK, you see there is a new tab that is created here. Okay, within that tab there is a group called my favorite with all these 4 buttons. These functions originally were on individual separate tabs. They are still there. For example, freeze panes. Let me show you. On the view tab you still have freeze panes, but I also have my favorite ones here. So this way you can customize the ribbons and you can create your own ribbon if you'd like to. Let me show you just one more thing. So once you have a file and you click on info, over here you have several options. The one that is really useful and relevant is protect workbook. If you click on this, it gives you several options. Always open read only. Let me select that and show you what happens. I've done that. Now I go back, I save the workbook and I close it. Next time if I open this workbook again, it will give me a message. The author would like you to open book 1 as a read only unless you need to make changes. Open read only, I say yes. Okay. So now this file is a read only file. If I try to type something and save, it will not happen. So many times when you have a file, which many people are using, there is a chance of accidentally deleting or adding something. To avoid that, you can keep this option open. What more you can do to protect the book? There is something called encrypt with password. If I click on that, it will ask me for a password. So let me just write 1, 2, 3, 4 here. It is warning me that if I lose or forget the password, I will not be able to open the file again. I am okay with that. It is asking me for the password again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I click OK again. And now this workbook is password protected. Let's go back. Let's save. Oh, we cannot save because this is a read only. So let's go to info or let me close it and open it again. This time not in the read only mode. So when I get this message, I will say no. I go to file, info, protect workbook, encrypt with password, same steps 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I save the file and I close it. Next time if I try to open the file, it will ask me for the password 1, 2, 3, 4 and I can only access it with the password, and the read only option is also enabled. So this was all about what an Excel file is and how to navigate the user interface. In the next chapter, Getting Started, you will start learning the basics of working in Excel. I will see you in the next lesson, and till then, goodbye.